Hello again, and welcome back to Nonprofit Marketing with Purpose. My name is Monica Pitts, and I am going to be your host today as we go through our website planning series, part 3. We're going to talk about what to put on your homepage, so things to watch out for and what to put on it. And I have my special guest with me, Miss
Stacy Brockmeyer.
And she is the website planner extraordinaire at Make Create Design. So she takes people through planning their websites every day. I can't say all day long because you do a lot of things.
It's one of my many hats, really.
It is. It's one of your many hats. So she's going to help us map out what to put on your homepage and things to watch out for. Let's get to business. You're on a mission, and you just need more people to know about it. And whether you're brand new to marketing or a seasoned pro, we are all looking for answers to make marketing decisions with purpose. I'm Monica Pitts, a techie, crafty business owner, mom, and aerial dancer who solves communication challenges through technology. This podcast is all about digging in and going digital. I'll share my marketing know-how and business experience from almost 20 years of misadventures. I'll be your backup dancer so you can stop doubting and get moving towards marketing with purpose. I am not going to say that the homepage is the most important page on the website. I think that it would probably jockey for importance with the donate page because that darn thing is prime, right?
It's definitely really far up there with most important. However, the homepage is the most visited and viewed page on a website.
Always. It's always the most visited. It's always the most viewed. It almost always has the most entrances.
It's almost always the place where people leave from your website the most. So they come in and leave from there.
Yeah, and it's not the page that has the highest bounce rate. A bounce rate would mean people enter and exit from the same page
without clicking.
Yeah, we actually watched one of our moms. Who was it that watched their mother navigating a website and realized why the exit rate is so high on the homepage?
It seems like it was Tim or something. It was one of our older designers, that we don't have anymore.
Yeah, because a lot of people will start on your homepage, they'll click through to other pages, and then they will back out of the website by clicking the back button on their browser until they leave and go back to the Google search results page.
Occasionally, I'm not going to lie, I do it if I haven't gone very far. If I'm just 2 pages in, I'll be back.
I do it too.
So
maybe we're old ladies.
I don't go 20 pages back.
No.
That's not my style.
No, that's when I just open up a new tab and move on.
Yep.
So also note, your homepage often ranks for more terms than any other page on your website, and it's often shown more in search results than most of your other pages. The only time that this differs on a website is if you have a website like MakeCreate.com, which has a very active blog. So I have lots and lots of people that find our blog posts every single month, and it accounts for probably 80% of our traffic, if not more. So it is not the most entrances on the homepage. It's not the most visits because it's on our blog. So, but if you are looking at your analytics, know that your website should, if you don't have a super active blog, be the most visited, have the most entrants, show more in search results. So it is very important. Okay, so we're going to talk about the things that we need to put on the page and what the page is for. So let's kind of start with the purpose of the homepage. The purpose of the homepage. Take it away, Stacy.
So the purpose of the homepage is really to introduce people to your organization. Most of the people who come to your website and read your homepage, they haven't been there before, don't know a whole lot about you. So they need you to tell them what you're up to, really, in short. So it's a great place to showcase what you do, tell people who you are, just in a few seconds. Really simply, really straightforward.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to rant about this for just a second. I warned Stacy about this before we started recording this podcast. I look at a lot of nonprofit websites. I can't tell you how many nonprofit websites I go to and I cannot figure out what they do. I'm not an idiot. Okay, friends? I'm not stupid. I am an adult woman. I am of the age where I have funds that I can contribute to your cause. I can't figure out what you do. And the reason I can't figure it out is because either you don't tell me, you tell me your mission in some weird, like, flowery language that means nothing to me. It actually makes me feel dumb, which is very sad. You never want your visitors to feel dumb. And I'll have to click and click and click and click. And I'm trying to figure out what you do because this is what I do, right? I can't figure it out. I'm mad about it. So we need to stop this. Stop it. Stop it now. Actually, what I would like you to do is I would either like you to go to the Nonprofit Marketing with Purpose Facebook page and make a post with the URL of your website and say, Monica, will you please look at my website and make sure that I do not use yucky jargon on my website? Because I will tell you straight up. Now, second thing you could do, though, is like have a teenager read this. Right? Have a teenager or someone who's not as associated with nonprofits yet, who's not as educated, have them read it and have them tell you what you do. And if they can't tell you what you do, then meh. Okay? Meh. You have failed. Start over. I know you want to say it eloquently. You need to say it in plain English.
No jargon.
Done. Okay, so I could rant about that later again, but I'm not going to do it anymore right now. Okay.
I love a good Monica soapbox.
Okay, Stacy. So it's going to introduce people to your organization, and then what else is it going to do?
It's really your first opportunity to show them where they should go in your website. Drag them through. It's sort of like, have you ever gone to, well, I mean, like even just like to the zoo? They tell you where to go next.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go to the polar bears after you've been to the penguin house, right? Mm-hmm. Your website should tell your viewers where you're going to go next. If you have the penguin house, tell them that they're going to the polar bears.
So your homepage on your website is like that first big, I almost call it a screen, that first big sign that you walk in and see at the zoo. Okay, so it is your first opportunity to help people get where they want to go. And it's also your first opportunity to direct them where you want them to go. We want them to get involved. Yes, okay.
Give us money or volunteer.
It would be so great. So it's like a springboard.
Yep, put them into action.
Now, I know I've heard this many times in creative meetings, and I think Stacy has something to say about repeating.
So many times people will say, oh, I don't think we need that button on the homepage. It's in the navigation. Well, I am a huge fan of directing people from the homepage to where we need them to go. So it's okay to call out pages on your homepage, even if they're in your navigation. It's your opportunity to put a little bit of text with them or even a picture, because you often don't have that in the navigation. And so if they are not sure what that page has on it and they're less likely to go to it, you can put it on your homepage, show them that it's a really cool place to go, and pull them through the site.
So earlier in our first website planning series, in part 1, we talked about how people come to your website and they either know who they are or what they want. So we're going to address some of those things on our homepage, and that's why it's okay to repeat things. So I know that I'm a mother with young children, and you could have a part of your homepage that says families with young children, and it links to each one of the programs that you offer. That's great. That's great. Or it could be families with young children, and there would be a button taking me to a section of your website that talks about all the things that you offer to families with young children. So making sure on your homepage that you're both diagnosing either your visitors, if they only know who they are, where are you going to take them from there? And if they know what they want, you need to anticipate what they want and drive them there. So how do you know what they want? And I don't have this in the show outline, but I think that this is a good one to address. So how do you know what visitors want? So one of the first things is Google Analytics.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going to go, is take a look at your data. I mean, I make a lot of decisions based on like my gut feeling or my gut reaction, but nothing speaks better than the numbers. So if you have numbers to put behind it, that's gold.
And if you don't have Google Analytics installed on your website right now, it is free and you can totally install it and it will tell you what pages people go to on your website. Oh, and so many more things that I will not go into it right now. One trick, though, you can also do if you don't have Google Analytics installed is just Google search for the proper name of your organization. And a lot of the times what you'll see is your homepage, and then it'll have little listings to other pages underneath your homepage. And oftentimes, not all the times, but oftentimes, those are the most visited pages in your site. And it helps you understand where people are going. Because what Google's doing there is it's anticipating what someone would benefit from and showing it to them. Okay. So being a repeater is okay. Imagine if the zoo never repeated where the penguins are. You'd never find the penguins.
They only had one place to pick up the maps.
Oh, man.
I missed it when I came in, and now I can't get a map again.
This is a bad plan. Okay, so the next thing that people often question about on their homepage is how tall it can be, which I kind of laugh at because having done a lot of print design in my time, created so many presentations and lots of websites, I love a website because the piece of paper is as long as I ever want it to be. Like I never run out of paper, ever. I mean paper, screen. Right? So it can be forever long. Yep. So Stacy, how do you feel about websites that make you scroll? What do you tell people when they're like, I don't know, should we make people scroll?
I think it's okay. Really, it's what works for your organization. You can have a website that makes you scroll or not. Most people intuitively know to scroll down, or you can even tell them to scroll down.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I think that the one audience that knows less to scroll are like younger children or like
older humans.
So you might want to take your audience into consideration and make it pretty clear if you have an audience that maybe doesn't know. Mm-hmm. But you can make them scroll. It's okay.
I mean, I feel like if you scroll, and I have like a little scrolly wheel on my mouse, like if I scroll 1, 2, 3, even 4 times, that is really normal. Like it is not strange for me to have to scroll that far down. And I like to think of the areas on your website kind of like PowerPoint slides. We want to divide up the information so that way people can see it without a whole bunch of busyness. What happens is a lot of the times when people don't want you to scroll, they try to shove everything up into the screen, and then you just feel overwhelmed. It's better to have them scroll down your homepage than to have them overwhelmed with a whole bunch of information all in one screen.
Now, what I do want to take into account is there are 2 types of people. So you have the people who are really detail oriented and want to read a lot and really want to get into the nitty gritty. And you have people who are the skimmers or like want to see the overview. And so you almost need to cater to both of those people. And you're going to cater to that person who's going to skim and look at the overview at the top, put your conclusion at the top, and then you're going to let the other people scroll down. So really, you shouldn't have things that aren't in your navigation either. So we want to have a couple different things on there. And that is for every page throughout your site.
Quimby would like to apologize for interrupting you, Stacy, because someone just walked into the office and my little dog decided to defend us as we are in the studio recording.
She's
I
very
agree.
protective.
But I 100% agree with what you just said, and I would like to add to that think about the content on your homepage like the table of contents of a book. It's inverted pyramid style, so like Stacy just said, the conclusion is up at the top, just like in a newspaper article, but then you would allow someone by just skimming the subheadings to get the meaning of what you're saying. So subheadings and little captions underneath photos basically should give people the gist of what you're saying enough that they don't have to read everything, but then you put the extra words in there for the people who do want to read. And for Google, for sure. Gotta have words on your homepage, people.
I know so many people who don't want words on their website, and it's because they're like me. I'm not a reader. Like, I'm not one of those people who wants to go through every fine-tooth little detail in words. Yeah, I like to know the details, but I don't necessarily want to read and read and read and read and read to find them out. But there are people that do it, and Google really likes it.
We have to have words on our homepage. I'm going to say it one more time. You have to have words on your homepage. Like, you should have 200 words or more on the homepage of your website. It has to happen. This is how you get things to show up in Google. It has to have words on it. You don't have to keyword stuff or do any of those crazy things that we talked about in our last episode about search engine optimization, but you have to have words on it. You have to have words on it.
Monica, what do you have to have on your homepage?
Words.
Are you sure you have to have words?
Yes, you have to have words. It just makes me crazy. You have to have
Words on your homepage.
Words on the homepage. Okay. So other things that people usually have on their homepage is like a really big picture or a video or a slider, where the slides change. Sometimes web designers call it a hero image. We call it a header image. That's our lingo around here. Now, these are usually taller on your homepage, and if you're going to have them on your secondary pages, they would be shorter on the secondary page because we don't want every page to feel like a homepage. Sometimes we need to get to the point a little faster. But, clearly we just said that the homepage needs to get to the point in a few seconds. So, this is something to consider. Anyway, the other thing that I want to tell you, though, is that if you don't want to have a huge image at the top of your website or a huge video, you don't have to have one. Like, that's up to you. Some people have shorter ones that fill up half the screen or a quarter of the screen, and other people fill up the entire screen. So it is really up to you and how comfortable you feel with taking up so much real estate with that image. If your image is amazing, feel free to take up as much real estate as you want. If it is some crappy stock photo that means nothing and does not have any relativity to your organization, yeah, okay, let's put some words in there and let's get to business, people. Like, your stock photo is a stock photo they've probably even seen before, and that's not like, gosh, I feel like I'm so mean in this episode. I'm bad cop. Stacy, you be good cop. Now, what are the things that you need to watch out for with these images up at the top?
So just be really careful of the image or the video and their load time. It doesn't mean that you can't have something that's full height if that's what you want. It just means that you have to have it formatted correctly. I don't want to get into exactly how to format it or anything like that. That's not what we're here for today, but we want to make sure that it's not slowing down your website. So we talked last time about really speeding up your website, making sure it loads fast. Google likes it. Your viewers like it. Just be careful of the size and that it loads really fast.
And if you want to check it, you can use my boyfriend, GT Metrics.
Good old GT.
Because GT will literally tell you exactly what photos are on your homepage and how big they are and how long it takes to load them. So if you really have a slow loading website, or if you're really feeling like you want to pick on your web designer, you can just run a report and be like, but look, this thing is over 500 meg. Oh my goodness. 500 meg is huge. Okay. So like, all of them should probably be someplace between a 200K or lower, really, would be a much better place. Okay. So other things that you're going to put on your website, there's going to be some things that we're going to talk about now that are going to change, that are going to flip out based on what's in the rest of your site. We call this modular content. So what are some of the pieces of modular content that you're going to show on the homepage, Stacy?
Oftentimes, these pieces of modular content are news and resources. So you may have news posts that you update really regularly. I would make sure that if you put news posts on your homepage that they're really relevant and you're not just talking about like what's going on around your office. Make sure that you have kind of a feature. A lot of times we'll put a featured home news spot so that it's not just showing the most recent piece of news. It's showing something that you intentionally wanted to show on your homepage, because by all means you should be posting, what's going on, but we want to make sure that we're using this real estate wisely. And then resources, you may have certain resources that you want to show at certain times of the year. And again, having a category or a way that you can just show things that you want to intentionally put on your homepage rather than just the most recent resources. That's really important. The other thing with these two pieces of content is, what are you going to show on them? Do they need to have the title, the image? Sometimes news needs to have a date where resources doesn't need to have a date. Do we need to show a little excerpt? Does our audience need a button, or does our audience know that if they click on the title or the image that it'll take them to the single post page or to the full content?
And make sure that the title and the image both link. I can't tell you how many times I click on a title or an image and they don't link.
The whole box should really link.
Just let it link. And if you've got space, put a button in. I like buttons. I know where to click when I have a button.
Yep.
Makes me sound like I'm, antiquated. But seriously, buttons, we know what to do with them. I think another piece of modular content that a lot of people showcase are their events. And sometimes they do that like up in that slideshow image up at the top, but then other times they have like a whole section of their homepage. When I say section, like you guys can't see what my hands are doing. I'm doing like this horizontal bar, right? Imagine you've got a horizontal bar where it's your events. So what are some of the questions that you ask people about for their events?
So I'm of the opinion that this spot doesn't need to house all of your event information. It really needs to give people a clear picture of what you have coming up and how many is going to depend on your organization and how many events that you have in any given time period. But it really needs to have a title that actually tells what the event is. So if people don't know that your Lunch and Learn series is whatever title that you made up, and they're not going to understand what it is when you put that on the homepage, they're not going to click on it. They're not going to know what it is. So make sure it has a title that actually tells what the event is. Make sure it has the date and the location. Location, obviously, right now could certainly be online or an address, and the time if there's a time. That's always really important information. And then just choosing how many events that would be appropriate to show here and making sure that you build your website in such a way that it can handle either that number of events all the time, or it can handle a varying number of events, because sometimes throughout the year you may have a lot of events happening and other times you may not have a ton.
I even like having a title above events sometimes, because if you're building your website on your own, you might not have all the design flexibility that you have with a professional. So it makes sense to explain to people what each segment of featured information is. So you could have featured news or recent news, whatever you want to call it. You might have featured resources. You might have upcoming events, and you can just put titles on them, because sometimes I find that my brain needs that to just know instantaneously this is what I'm looking at. So don't be afraid. Remember, the content on your homepage is inverted pyramid meets table of contents. So using those titles above these featured pieces of content allow people to very easily understand what you're showing to them, and it reduces the confusion factor. We don't want people to be confused at all. Okay, so modular content goes on the homepage. And then, this is like kind of an obvious one. I'm smiling over here because what else goes on the homepage, Stacey?
Donate, donate, donate. I really want to make a song. You know how we have a song about making the logo bigger?
Donate, donate.
I really like that. I really wanted to have a song about donating, because it should be everywhere, 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 everywhere. Please make sure that donate is everywhere. There have been, as we talked about in the last episode, many websites that don't even have a donate link in the navigation. So make sure it's everywhere. Sometimes we even make it stick to the bottom of the screen on every page.
It's so cute that way, too.
It is. Or maybe it's above the footer on every page. Maybe it's in the navigation as a little button with a heart by it in every page.
I was just going to say that. I love the hearts next to the donate buttons.
make sure that you give people the opportunity to donate to your organization. And donate may not be monetary donations to you. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're 100% funded and you need donations of books, or you need donations of time. So make sure it's really clear what you want people to donate, but make sure you give them that opportunity to get involved and give back to your organization.
So I would also say that near the donate, I would have a testimonial or a success story on the website. Now, I see a lot of websites that have all of their testimonials in this one page. They're like housed in a silo by themselves.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. Here's the deal. Your testimonials are like your reviews. They're like your reviews that people place about a product or a service on Google or on Amazon. So let's pretend like we're on Amazon and you're going to buy pots and pans. You're looking at a pots and pan set, but everything doesn't say anything. I say everything, but it doesn't say anything about how awesome the pots and pans are. Are you going to go to a separate page in Amazon and like dig through and look for something nice that somebody said about the pots and pans? No. And people don't ever go to that page. I say don't ever. Gosh, that's like so finite. No, I mean, they just don't visit it very often.
It's one of the least visited pages because people know that you're not going to put negative reviews on your own website.
Yeah.
Like you're just not. But if you compare that piece of content to tug at someone's heartstrings, next to a button that asks them to give you money.
Yes.
It's money.
So the testimonial should be something that makes sense in its home. I say it's home. It has to make sense with the content that's around it. It should relate to it. It should deepen the story, and it should help people understand the awesome stuff that you do. It's amazing. Have one on your homepage. The other thing that if you have business sponsors, so you might have members of your organization that give to you every year, or maybe they donate in kind. They're sponsors, right? So a lot of the times we put these on a homepage as well. And I mean, you could just list them, a link to their website, or you can put pictures, whatever you want. These are usually closer to the bottom of the page. But once again, just like your testimonials, you could have a page that shows your sponsors, but I can tell you from experience and looking at many, many websites, people don't go to the sponsors page. And you are doing a disservice to your sponsors, and they have given you money and they believe in you, and you are giving back to them by promoting them. They deserve to be on a page that people will actually see.
And by all means, please link back to them.
Yeah.
Because you're also doing a disservice if you don't link back to their websites.
Yeah. And then, you know what's really cool is if you put the right little tricky thing on the link, you can track how many times people clicked on that link. And then you can be like, look how many times we sent people over to your website. And then you can really prove to them what an asset you are to their business. And it's really cool. I can't tell you how many, back in the day when we would get a whole bunch we still do get a lot of traffic through referrals, but I would send out cards thanking people for linking over to our website because I can see who referred us, on their website. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so Stacy, let's talk just very briefly about the navigation. We get into conversations with people about whether or not this is like our rant session about the things that people should not argue with us about. What are the 3 non-negotiable buttons that you feel like should be on every navigation for every nonprofit website?
Home, contact, donate.
Home, contact, donate.
Do it.
Do it. Okay. So now to wrap this up though, I want to remind you that there are other pages in your website. And like I said, your homepage is super, super important. But at the very beginning, we talked about how your donate page is also really important. And your services pages are really important. And so is your volunteer page. So there's all kinds of very important pages on your website. So don't sink all your energy or all of your funds into your homepage and forget about all of those other pages. Because when people leave the homepage and it's just beautiful and flamboyant and amazing, and then they land on this dismal, sad, like dunce of a page that's the next step that you led them to, that does not build the relationship that you want with these people. We want to keep pulling them through the site and build that credibility with them. So do not forget about your other pages, which is why we're going to talk about all of them in upcoming episodes. Okay, we'll give you the same types of advice that we just gave you here. So Stacy, before I do the recap, is there anything else that you want to add to this What to Put on Your Homepage episode?
I don't think so. I guess maybe the only thing I would add is on navigation, make sure it's really clear and easy to see and easy to read. Don't hide your navigation. Don't put it in a hamburger menu on a desktop website.
A lot of people do that. I don't think that's the right plan.
Especially, I think, for nonprofits, because I'm going to go back to that thing about our audience who has disposable income wasn't raised with the internet. Mm-hmm. Don't hide it. Don't hide your pages from them. Make sure it's easy to see. And if you don't have it on a bar at the top and it's over your hero image or your video or whatever, make sure that it's easy to read. I mean, I love having it like that, but sometimes it gets hard to see. And so you need to pay attention to what pictures you put up there or what you put up. So just make sure that what you have on there is really easy to see. And your homepage is not the end all be all. Don't forget about your other stuff.
Yeah.
Super important.
And the pages that should be on your navigation are the ones that are most important to your audience, not the ones that are most important to you. You get to put your donate up there. That should be the one. That's like the freebie for yourself, okay? So all the rest of the pages, if you don't have enough space to have a link up there for your board of directors, it's okay, because that's a page for you. That's not the page for the people that you serve. And that, I mean, while in some cases it may entice someone to know that you're a really awesome and an incredible organization, for the most part, the work you do is going to speak for itself. And it's not your board of directors that will really tell the story about why you're so incredibly awesome. So make sure that happens. And when we said hamburger menu, we mean like that. There's 3 lines that sit on top of each other. So like the top line is a bun and the bottom line is a bun and the middle line is the hamburger. And it like hangs out in the upper right corner of the screen most of the time. You see it on mobile all the time, but we just really feel like you should have a desktop navigation and a mobile navigation. That's our opinion. You can take it or leave it. It's just really how we feel. Okay, so to recap, before I sign off here, what to put on your homepage. Introduce people to your organization. No jargon. Remember, you're pulling people into your website on this page. It's a springboard. You tell them where you want them to go, and you help them get where they want to go. And it's okay to repeat things that are on your main navigation or on other pages. It's okay to be a repeater. Remember, it's like the zoo, right? This is the welcoming sign at the zoo. That's your homepage. It's okay if people scroll. You can have different size images or videos up at the top. Just make sure that they're small enough to load quickly and they're not slowing stuff down. And then you're going to showcase some modular content like news, resources, and events, remembering that titles above all of these areas of your website are really important, but the most important information, what you do and who you help, needs to go right up at the top, inverted pyramid style. Also on your homepage, you're going to have a donate, like donate, pair it with a testimonial or a success story. You might list out your sponsors. And then, your navigation, you need to have a donate button on that navigation. You need a home and a contact button. Some people just have their logo that clicks back to the homepage. And I mean, most people do know now that that's going to happen. However, for an older demographic, it might be better to still maintain that web convention of having a homepage link. And then last but not least, don't forget the interior pages of your website, because they are really, really important to continue the relationship and like move them through the journey. All right. So that was just,
It's a lot of stuff.
I know, I feel good. I feel good talking about homepages. And next time we're going to talk about event sections. Oh man, I'm so excited.
Event sections are super exciting.
Yeah, I know. We're such dorks. All right, friends. Well, thank you so very much for your time today. I know that you are busy people, and I appreciate every minute that you have spent with me talking about homepages. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so you can catch us on the next episode. Like I said, episode 4 of the website planning series is going to be the do's and don'ts of an event section. And if you loved this episode or if you learned a thing or two, please go out and review us. That would be so incredible, because every review that we get is one more opportunity for us to share this information with another nonprofit organization just like yourself. It helps us show up in all of those different podcast distributors like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, like wherever you are. Leave us a review and let people know that you learned a thing or two. That would be so incredible. So once again, thank you so much. And until next time, go forth and market with purpose.